First up, we have a game that we decided to jump into that came out back in March of this year. I believe it was March, right at the COVID's happening, like right when it was kickstarting. We were going to play this game. It was part of the calendar, and then we heard the reviews weren't that great, and we decided not to do it. But it's a game called Bleeding Edge. This is a game from Ninja Theory, the makers of Hellblade, Senua Sacrifice, and Devil May Cry, and it's a multiplayer melee combat game. But I want to stop talking and let Austin talk about your first impressions of Bleeding Edge.
Thank you. Yeah, we heard those reviews and it was just like, it's just not worth playing. There's too many other games out, too many other games coming. You know, we got to get caught up some backlogs. So I was like, whatever. Well, finally, we had some little time, kind of. We made it a little time, and we're like, all right, let's just jump into it. And I was pleasantly surprised. I really enjoy this game. It's very much like Overwatch, where you have these heroes, and everyone can pick, the same hero, and they all have their different quirks and pros and cons and stuff like that.
Actually, not everybody can pick the same hero. Once a hero is picked, it's taken.
Sorry, each team can pick.
Oh yeah.
Similar heroes.
Yep.
But yes, on your team, you can only pick one type of hero. Yep. So you got the supports, you got the damage dealers, you got the healers, you got the tanks, and you try to make a party out of that can stick together and work together. And jumping in with randos isn't the worst thing ever. But I'll get to my horrible experiences with randos, as you would imagine it would be like. Anyway, like finding a character, like they all play very uniquely, and I watched some guides online like how to play. I really like Gizmo. She just seemed like my type of character. She sits back. She has a minigun, and it's consistent shooting. It kind of ramps up over time, so it's like slow at the beginning, and then it goes up, and then you can put down some turrets, and you got some. Your super is like you can either ride a missile or you can turn into a mech. Yeah, I was like, that's really awesome. It's like trying to get the hang of that, and then obviously you jump into a match and someone else takes your character, and you're like, dang it, I don't know what other character to get. So like trying out some of the healing, trying out some of the tanks, it's very interesting, and seeing how all this combinations work. Again, very much like Overwatch with less heroes. And I think it actually works very well. Like, it's surprising to see that Ninja Theory coming from Senua Sacrifice into a MOBA type Overwatch game. I mean, what you call it? Hero arena shooter.
Hero brawler something.
MOBA. Yeah. And they actually pull it out of the park, and I'm surprised it didn't get more press. I mean, again, it's coming out in a weird time, and I don't think the current climate allows for this. And I think because of games as a service and the way the industry is going, I don't think people see that. It's just so it's very contained right now. And I think that's why a lot of people aren't digging it. And I think that's a very sad thing. This is just my opinion, because if it had all the bells and whistles like Overwatch or a Game Pass or Battle Pass or whatever, I think it might get more recognition. At the same time, I just don't think a lot of people are giving this game a chance.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of maps. There's a handful of heroes, which I think all work very well if you get the right combination together. And it's just kind of sad that it hasn't really picked up steam. Luckily, there is like a dedicated fan base right now, so that's positive.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like when we first jumped into this game, like I told Austin, I played the tutorial mode by myself and just ran through that, and just felt like I've been wanting to give it a try just to see what it was going to be like. And immediately when I jumped into it and started learning some of the mechanics, I was like, this is way deeper than I thought it was going to be, with the different different powers and the way that you can kind of work them together to make your attack. And I also didn't realize how MOBA, as Austin was saying, how MOBA-esque this game was, and that it's very heavily focused on you having to have a solid team together that works well to basically assault and overrun the other team, whether it be a single player or their entire team, and outpower them with your moves and your skill sets and all of that stuff, just like you would in a MOBA when you go around and like gang people left and right. So there's definitely, the team makeup is a huge part of this. And the art style to me is really, really cool. It's got like a Borderlands-esque like art style to it. And it has this kind of a spray paint, like edgy, like underground street feel to it. The soundtrack is phenomenal. Like I love the soundtrack. It seemed like it didn't quite fit at first, but as I got into it, I was like, I just want to listen to this music all the time. Like I want them to release the soundtrack for this because I would just listen to this just at work. It's that good of just cool electronic music that is very, it reminds me a lot of Glitch Mob is what it sounds like. Right. It's got a Glitch Mob vibe to it, but it's made by a guy that does like indie music. And then he just happened to do like this whole like soundtrack for awesome. Not any music, but like indie game music.
Yeah.
So he did music for, what was the game called? Not Pyre. Anyway, there was a couple of games that he made. That one was like an indie game that looked like it was going to be good and then ended up not being as good, but it was still. I mean, the visuals of it were really nice, but the music on this game is awesome, and the gameplay is a lot of fun. Like when you're on, like you can have the highest highs, but also the lowest lows, because when your team is like running through it and like just wrecking people, like it is a high like nothing I've ever experienced before. I mean, like freaking marijuana's got nothing on this game. You know what I mean? Like it's just out of control. Not that I smoke marijuana, of course, but there's this really impressive just this team makeup when your team is just like kicking ass and taking names, like the visual effects and the wrecking shop, and like the moments when there's this one mode where you have to steal power cells basically around the map. So you like open up, there's like a moment where you capture power cells and they're just like dotted around the map, and you pick these up, and once you have them, there's a point where it turns into like return mode, where like these circles open up on the map. You have to rush to them and like stand there for a second to like turn in the power cells, and the first one is like 50 power cells wins. But you can also go and gank other players and steal their power cells from them. So moments like that when you like get around the enemy and you knock out 3 of their guys and all of a sudden 15 power cells pop out, you're like, yes, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And those kinds of things are just really fascinating.
Let me speak on the maps. There's only 2 playlists. There's capture the points or the power cells.
Right.
Which is interesting. And I was like, man, that's it? Like, I'm surprised they don't have more, and maybe there'll be more later, but I like how they take just those 2 playlists and put variants on them. Like one will be VIP, where randomly someone will be chosen on one of the teams to be VIP, and they'll do way more damage, but they also take way more damage too. So it's just this nice trade-off. And then you got one where they put down like little areas around the map, and for a short time you'll get boosted if you're in there. And then one of them has it where rockets will come in. I think there's like 5 or 6 maps. I actually haven't been counting.
Yeah, I can't remember how many there are, but yeah, those
just little things like that
are really nice. So that one that has a train, where you have like a circle, like a control point that's in this area where there's like it's not even. Well, there's one with the train, but there's also the one with the fire like pit or whatever, like the fire like tunnel, where like shoots like
it's a giant laser. No, it's a giant laser.
Okay, that's what it was. Yeah.
And so you always have 3 points on these maps, and sometimes it's go capture 1 point. So like obviously everyone has to go to this 1 point and duke it out, and then there's like control 2 points, and then as the maps go on, there's control 3 points, and the same with like the fuel cells. Like it'll be 1 point at first, so it gives you a chance to kind of really get that lead, and then it'll open up to 2, and then eventually open up to 3. So it's just harder to like get the other team because they can just go somewhere else and catch up and or just win outright. And there's very few games where it was a close tie, right? It's always been you're either winning or you're not.
Yeah. What's really unfortunate about this game is that it has all the pieces to make for a great game, and it doesn't have all the bullshit that a lot of games have right now, like the battle pass, the microtransactions, all that stuff. Like, or did it have microtransactions? I didn't think so.
It has none of that.
I mean, you have like you have a progression system where you do unlock skins and ability and things like that. So it's set up to have that stuff, but it doesn't like overload you with a bunch of bull crap. There's just like. You can customize. There's this one feature that we didn't talk about, but you have a board.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about
that you ride on that, like, at the very beginning of the game, you have your board that lets you get around the map faster. And then when you start fighting, you get off the board and you can start, like, wrecking people. And then whenever you're ready to, like, move to the next point, you can jump back on this board. So you can customize your board. You can customize your character skin. You can customize. There's also these power-up abilities kind of things that are, like, cut mods, I think is what they're called, where you can kind of build loadouts for your character that give you plus or minus percentage bonuses on different things. So if you find that your character, you tend to use XYZ power more than this other power, you can do a boost on that power and like cater your character towards that set of powers that you typically would be using at more often. And those are kind of nice. Like they're not like a huge exciting thing for me, but I think it's an interesting different twist. But for me, the biggest issue with this game is that, it's it's their first game to release under Microsoft Game Studios. And obviously this was in development before Game Studios picked them up. But I feel like Microsoft could do a better job at marketing this game and getting it out there. But I also at the same time feel like it's just a weird timing thing. It's just like when Battleborn came out right after Overwatch. Like it got heavily overshadowed by Overwatch, and then therefore Battleborn just fell off the wayside. And then now we're in a marketplace where Battle Royale is king. That's what's taken over like the shooter genre, and or like the hero genre even is not like, we thought that Overwatch would be around forever. Well, people are leaving Overwatch now to go play other games because Blizzard has kind of hurt the Overwatch community a little bit by, they introduced that role queue system where I forget what the exact mechanics are, but all the friends that are in the Discord channel and stuff like that have basically said that now that role queue exists, like I don't want to play the game anymore. It's just not worth it. And I think it like limits who you can play as, like in certain things based on like the team makeup. So I think it's so that you can't overload your team with like all tanks or all, like you can't overpower your team. You have to have a better distribution. I think that's how it operates. But ever since they introduced that, like I've heard a lot of people leaving Overwatch and they're trying to find another game. But the games they're going to are Valorant, which was built for esports, and they're going to Rogue Company for whatever reason is getting a pretty decent following. But
looks interesting. We should play it.
I bought it already, actually.
Oh, nice.
I was like, I'm going to get in and see what it's like. I haven't played it yet, but it does look pretty
well, then
good.
you tell me.
But it's simple. It's a simplified it's like going back to the basics. But I think with this one it's like it didn't quite go back to the basics. It was more of like, let's be kind of like Overwatch, but different.
Yeah.
And the speed I feel like is a little slow for people because, Overwatch is very fast.
True. That's right.
And in here, when you're not on the thing, you're like a slog. Like you're not moving quick, especially if you're a tank character. Like you move real slow.
Yeah.
And I think that's all these games that are out now that are really popular. I feel like well, not Hyperscape's not really popular, but it's faster paced. You have Apex Legends that's super fast. Like all these things are your fast mobile attack person.
Yeah.
And this doesn't have any of that. Even though you think it would because Devil May Cry developers, but
well, when you get in the action, it's it's action packed.
Oh, it is, yeah.
For time. Like 30 seconds, and that's really all you need.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll jump in some of my experiences playing this game. It's I'm going around. I'm just kind of learning the ropes. I'm not doing okay in my first few rounds, and obviously I started getting on the streak of like I'm losing and like what am I doing wrong? I thought I had this figured out, and watching some videos, learning how to play certain people a little better, and knowing the makeup of what another team or what a team would be like that is winnable. The strengths and weaknesses of some of these other heroes that I haven't played, or I'm starting having to expand out. And you start picking up like when are you offsides? What should you do in this situation? And how should you approach a situation? Like who to target? Who's the most valuable person to take out like immediately? And for me, I felt like the people I played with, for the most part, like that tank was attacking somebody, I was attacking that tank. Like for Gizmo, she's more of a control defender who just lays down consistent damage, and you're not really taking people out most of the time, right? Like there's this one guy who is a snake who's taking control of this body, and he puts down this healing aura for the team. And this one video recommended I stay in that aura and just like defend this area. Like me and this guy are like teaming up, basically, because if I start taking a lot of damage, he can put a shield boost around me, which will take damage and keep me alive longer. And then that kind of works into like, the tank can come in and start beating this person down. And it's just cool to see that kind of different mechanics, and knowing that if I play this person, someone's most likely going to take that healer because they know like they work good together, right?
Yeah.
But then it comes down to like when you're playing with randos, obviously you have the bad ones, and it's one guy. Well, a lot of times I had to be the tank because I felt like the composition of our team really needed it. And so I'm there being this tank, like this is the guy I need to attack. I go in, I attack, and all of a sudden I'm like, where's my team?
Yeah.
I'm just getting mutilated. Like, just I'm dead like that. And it's just like, where was everyone at? We were all going in together, and they all just like did something else.
Yeah.
We were trying to take a point or kill someone who has a lot of fuel cells, and it's just like, I don't understand that. And then one time, plenty of times I was like, we had 2 healers. I was like, where are my healers? I was playing the girl who's she has the wheels about it. Yeah.
For your name.
Yeah. Anyway, she's like a southern girl, and like I go in there, she's not that strong, but she's a tank, right? And it's just like I didn't get healed for half that game.
That's her thing. Is
how is that possible?
Take in damage and then deal out a bunch of damage.
I need someone to heal me.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then one time, there's plenty of times where we were losing, and the team came together in the end, and we won. And it was awesome. But this one guy, he sat there for half the game, and I was like, dude, like, I know we're losing, but there's a chance we can bring you back. He's like, y'all aren't playing together? I'm not playing. I'm like, are you kidding me?
The one we were playing in, whereas like you jump over the you have that like
think you're
speed
there.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I was like, so I played this one game. We were literally, the other team was 3/4 of the way to the winning, and we barely gotten a 10th of the way, and this is the fuel cell thing. We came back and won somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but we did it. And this guy on this other game was just like, y'all are playing together? Well, I'm just not going to play. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? That pissed me off so bad. I was like, dude, you have no idea what's possible unless you try.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then after that, I kind of got a little frustrated with the game because it's just like, I don't want to deal with these randos. But the game is really fun. Like playing with you, playing with a group of people who know what they're doing. Like, it's easy to wreck shop. And I would like to see this be like a Major League Gaming thing or have some kind of tournaments, which I'm sure it will, peek its head in there every so often. But I just feel like this game is definitely not getting enough credit. And it's kind of sad. It's probably not going to go anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, if Microsoft put some more money behind it, I think it has a lot of potential to come back because it's not bugged. It's not a bad game. There's no fundamentally broken pieces about it. It's just like you said, it's definitely based on a team. Like I don't play Overwatch by myself because you got to have a solid team to like work well together. And this game definitely relies on that team. And I think a lot of it too is behind the awareness, like map awareness. Like you have to know what's going on your map at all times and like where your team's at, who's struggling, who's got who's taking point, like who has the objective items, if they're holding the power cells or whatever.
Right.
And a lot of people just don't have that visibility or that awareness of what's going on, and that's when you start to lose really fast. Because if that other team is going to have that, and they're going to be much more of a unit, and that's what is going to excel. So I think definitely just having a group of people, and it's a 4v4 game, so it's kind of non-traditional in that most games are like 5v5 or higher than that or whatever. This one's 4v4, so it's like it's not like you're having to fight for a lot of people to play this game. You just need 4 players to make a full team and roster. Yeah,
finding a match actually takes about up to 2 minutes because there isn't that many people playing. It seems like.
Yeah, I don't think there is, but
so it's kind of sad because they have this mechanic where you can like watch the highlights and see your score, and then it's supposed to load in another match, and most of the time it just kicks me out. Yeah, because there ain't no one to play with now. It's just like, geez.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope they bring it back at some point and like do something with it to give it some more life that would get people back into the game. But it may not. But it's a great game. I mean, it's really has a lot of potential, and it's very polished. Like I was impressed with the gameplay mechanics, and there wasn't anything that just felt broken. It's like, I mean, compared to the next game we're going to talk about, like it definitely has a very well polished, well put together system baseline foundation.
One thing I forgot to add was like all these characters are like great. Yeah, like they've done such a good job of like building a personality out of the mechanics that these people use and their like their actual like what they look like and stuff. Yeah. It's just like, man, they nailed it.
Which is huge in comparison to like Hyperscape, for example. Like that game came out, you can pick a hero to play as. There's no reason to pick any of those heroes because they all look the same. They're boring. There's no differentiation to them. So there's no reason to play those. And then, even Call of Duty, I feel like they have some characters that are kind of cool to lean into more than others, but I mean, that's what made Overwatch so good is that you had personality behind these characters. And this one does have personality behind the characters. They're very different character designs, and I think that's really well put together. But people just haven't seen that yet, so we'll see where it goes. But it's definitely, if it's on Game Pass. So if you guys have Game Pass, like, highly recommend getting it, downloading it, playing it. If you do get it, let us know at hello@thenergamer.net, or join the Discord channel, link in the show notes, so we can get a little crew together. I think that'd be fun to play.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
please.